No matter how far you stray from God or how broken down your spiritual life may be, do you realize that you are still valuable to God simply because you are His? I read a story recently that illustrates this wonderful truth. It's about a man by the name of Bob. Bob was a connoisseur of garage sales. He lived in Downey, California. One Saturday, as he was making his rounds from garage to garage, he came upon a motorcycle in a man's garage, and he asked the man, how much would you sell that bike for? And the man tried to dissuade Bob, saying, you don't want to buy this motorcycle. The engine is frozen. Restoring this bike would cost you about as much as a brand new bike. But Bob was persistent, and so the owner unloaded it for about $35. A few days passed, and Bob finally found time to call the Harley-Davidson company to research the price of new parts. Bob gave the salesperson the bike's registration number, and after what seemed a long wait, the clerk returned to the phone. He said, "Sir, I'm going to have to call you back." He said, "Could I get your full name, address, and phone number, please?" Well, Bob gave the information, but he was a bit concerned. He said, "I wonder if this bike is stolen, has it been in an accident, or what the problem was." He was a bit concerned. But after a few days, Bob received a phone call from a man who introduced himself as an executive with Harley-Davidson. The executive said, "Bob, I want you to do something for me. Would you take the seat off your bike and see if anything is written underneath? Bob, would you do that, please?" And so Bob did as the man requested, and he took the seat off the bike, and underneath the seat were written these words. They were "The King" in capital letters. And after a moment of silence, the executive said, "Bob, my boss has authorized me to offer you $300,000 for the motorcycle. How about it?" Well, Bob was so startled that he said, "I'll have to think about it. Call me again tomorrow." Well, the next day, Bob received another phone call, this time from the famed talk show host and motorcycle enthusiast Jay Leno. And he offered Bob $500,000 for the motorcycle. And you probably guessed already, the motorcycle was owned by the former king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. And this motorcycle was worth an unbelievable amount of money, not because of its present condition, but because of the person who had previously owned it. And and the same is true with us. Friends, do you realize no matter how broken down your life may be, no matter how far you have strayed from God, you are still of value to God simply because you are His. And if you want to read on this kind of love and acceptance, I encourage you to read the story of the prodigal son, because it illustrates how far we can stray from God. But there's always our God with outstretched arms, willing to receive us back when we come back in confession and repentance. May God take His word and bless you with it today.